He's a nice person. Meanwhile, Sarah Sanders has had to answer the question, is there a tape of Trump using the N-word? Now, we know there's not because Rob Burnett called the president and said there's no tape of him saying the N-word. We know this from a presidential tweet. So I don't even know why people are asking this question anymore. But Sarah Sanders, based upon the fact that Rob Burnett assured us that there was no tape of President Trump saying the N-word, she's not quite convinced. Here's how she responds when Kristen Welker asks Sarah Sanders that question.
From the president's rollout last August. Kristen.
Sarah, have you asked the president if he's ever used the N-word?
The president addressed that question directly via Twitter. I'd refer you back to him. I can certainly say I've never heard him use that term or anything similar.
Have you asked him directly, Sarah?
The president, I didn't have to because he addressed it to the American people all at one time.
Why haven't you asked him directly?
Again, the president answered that question directly on Twitter earlier today.
Can you stand at the podium and guarantee the American people they'll never hear Donald Trump utter the N-word on a recording in any context?
I can't guarantee anything, but I can tell you that the president addressed this question directly. I can tell you that I've never heard it. I can also tell you that if myself or the people that are in this building serving this country every single day, doing our very best to help people all across this country and make it better, if at any point we felt that the president was who some of his critics claim him to be, we certainly wouldn't be here. This is a president who is fighting for all Americans, who is putting policies in place that help all Americans, particularly African Americans. Just look at the economy alone. This president, since he took office in the year and a half that he's been here, has created 700,000 new jobs for African Americans. That's 700,000 African Americans that are working now that weren't working when this president took place. When President Obama left after 8 years in office, he had only created 195,000 jobs for African Americans. President Trump in his first year and a half has already tripled what President Obama did in 8 years. Not only did he do that for African Americans, but for Hispanics. 1.7 million more Hispanics are working now. This is a president who cares about all Americans, who is committed to helping them, and is putting policies in place that actually do that. Kevin. Sorry, Kristen.
So, in other words, yes, there is a tape. And also, we mistakenly lied about how many jobs Obama created for black people.
I can't guarantee anything.
I can't even tell you. I can't even vouch for the numbers I'm about to give you.
I literally
tell you right now.
can't guarantee anything because I'm about to give you fake numbers.
They did actually issue a correction on that, where Sarah Sanders said, we got the numbers right, we just got the time frames wrong. So in other words, they got the time frame right for Trump, but they meant more like the last 3 months, I think it was, for Obama, as opposed to his entire presidency.
Yeah, in a span of about under 2 years, he did more than Barack Obama did in a week.
It would be the equivalent of someone saying to me, you only weigh 50 pounds. And I would say, no, that's not. It's demonstrably untrue. I can get on the scale. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was mistaken. I was right about the number. I just meant that you only weighed 50 pounds when you were 4. That's what I meant. That's what I meant when I said that. Yeah,
just for clarification. And also you'd have to say it with a lot of attitude.
Right.
Like, oh, no, I meant 50 pounds when you were 4.
But everyone should rest assured, Rob Burnett has cleared up the entire thing about the tape, so the tape doesn't exist. Just the idea, like, this is like what we talk about now is just... I
want to hear that phone call. Rob, how are you? Well,
Mr.
Donald,
President,
I'm terrific.
I want to assure you did not use the N-word that we recorded in
we
any
like
way.
that. We like that because that's a very bad word.
We love that.
We don't use those words.
We do love that.
I didn't love that word.
Don't love that word, and I wouldn't love to hear that I used that word. Anyways.
However, now, look.
Black people ruined Apprentice, right?
I also, I mean, this is just sort of, and this maybe gets to Matt Lewis's piece. We're going to read it a little bit later. But I will say that I never take this guy's word for anything either. But Penn Jillette says that there are Trump apprentice tapes, and he says, I was in the room, and I heard stuff, and it made me uncomfortable.
Thanks for the timing, dude.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done. Well done.